What happens to my benefits if my husband dies before he started taking his own Social Security benefits? That's what we're going to talk about here today. So welcome to Heritage Wealth Planning. We're going to start doing a few Q&As, kind of brief shotgun approaches to various questions I get on the interwebs, and I will share these with you. So Doris writes in, and she says, I was going to file for spousal benefits at 66 myself to start drawing half of my husband's Social Security benefits since mine is so small. I guess my hesitance is we are both 1 month apart, both born in 1954, April and May. I said because that means the restricted application is off the table. If I start drawing half of his benefits when I turn 66, is he able to wait until 70 to apply for the maximum, or will he only be able to get his benefit value at 66 so I started drawing spousal 4 years prior? Okay. And if he dies anytime between 66 and 69, what are the rules talk about for benefits for her? So, all right, let's talk about this. So we have a bunch going on here, actually. So first and foremost, if you're born after January 1st, 1954, the restricted benefit is gone. All right, so what that literally in this case doesn't matter. I'm not going to talk about it. If you're born after January 1st, 1954, you cannot file a restricted application. So in this case, the only way Doris could get spousal benefits is if her husband, we'll call him Don and Doris, has filed as well. That's it. If the husband hasn't filed, then Doris can't get spousal benefits. So let's go over a couple examples here how this works. We're going to have Don. We're going to say his benefit's $2,000 a month at his PIA. All right, so that will be at his PIA, and he's 66 years old. And then we're going to have Doris over here, and we're going to say her benefit $500 a month. All right. At her PIA. All right, so Doris's question is, what she is hoping she could do is take half of her spousal benefits. But you can't do that unless Don files. All right, so Miss Doris, that is off the table. The only way you can get half of this benefit is for Don to file as well. But they don't want to do that. They want Don to wait until he's 70. Remember, they're both 66. I don't think I wrote that down, did I? Both 66 years old today. All right, so we don't want to do that because we don't want Don to file for $2,000 when if he waits, if we go 2,000 times 1.32, if he waits until he's 70, he gets $2,640. All right, so let's make sure. So at 70, $2,640. All right, so what happens now? Doris is 66. Now, she could theoretically wait until she's 70 as well. And in that case, if she were to wait till she was 70, her benefit would be $660. Let me make sure I got that right. Times 1.32. Yeah, 1.32. It'd be $660 a month. All right, so if she waited till she was 70, it'd be $660 a month at 70. Absolutely makes no sense to do that, none whatsoever. The reason for that is for her to wait till she's 70, because when Don files, she will get half of this right here. She'll get half of his PIA, not his 70-year-old benefit, only half of his PIA. So when Don files, Doris will get $1,000 a month. No getting around that, which is more than what it would be if she waited till she was 70. So let me just be clear on this. If Doris were to defer filing her benefit, it would make no sense because she'd be 70 years old and she would get a benefit, won't even get that. She'll get half this automatically. So she could have wasted 4 years of making $500 a month. So don't do that. If you're the lower earner, you should file essentially as soon as you possibly can. In this case, it's Doris at 66. She should file, get that $500 a month off her benefit record because she can't get the spousal benefit because Don's not applying for his benefit. I hope that makes sense. Critically important. Now, Doris, no way under God's green earth should she wait until she's 70 years old to file for her own benefit. And she didn't say she was going to do that. But I'm just saying, don't do that either, because once you hit 70 and Don hits 70, you're going to get half of this, not this, which means, again, that's 4 years wasted. You just lost those 4 years. Don't do that. So Doris goes down to Social Security and says, hey, my name's Doris. I want to file for my benefit. All right? And I don't know what they're going to say. They're going to say, well, if you got Don down in here, and I tell you, just between you and me, I have a feeling Social Security I don't want to say it's reward. I don't know. It seems like everybody I talk to, when they go down Social Security is very keen on getting you to file. I'm telling you. So everyone who says Social Security wants you to delay, that's the government wanting you to delay. Josh, you're a government shill because you tell people to defer and delay. I have yet to see that. I don't see that. I see the exact opposite. When people go down to Social Security, they're saying, here's what you can get today. Let's go ahead. I'm like, So I don't think that's the case at all. I'm telling you, I think it's just my conspiracy, but I think there's some kind of incentive to get people on the dole. I don't mean like welfare because it's your money, but on the system as quickly as possible. Okay. All right, so now what's going to happen? So Doris should file, so she's not going to get the $660. That's gone because there's no way she should wait. So she's going to file. She's going to get $500 a month. They're both 66. She'll get that for 4 years. Her concern was, part two, what happens to Don if he dies? Well, if Don dies, she will get either the amount, well, not either. She will get the amount he would have got on that year he died. So 66, she'll get $2,000 a month. 67 or whatever, 2,000 times 0.08%. 68, 2,000 times 0.16. 69, 70. So when Don dies, even if he didn't file, she will get the amount he would have got as if he had filed that year, okay? So let's just say Don dies at 70. Well, none of this is going to be applicable anymore. Doris is going to get this instead. All right, hope that makes sense. So Don dies. Doris will lose her own benefit, and she will get whatever Don was either receiving at that point or would have received if he was receiving it at that point. It won't revert back to his PIA. Keep looking there. It won't revert back to his PIA. It will revert back to what the amount would have been if he would have started receiving it at that point. All right, so Don dies at 70. Even if he hasn't filed, that's what Doris gets. Don dies at 66. Even if he hadn't filed, that's what Doris would have got. Don dies at 68. He would have got like 2320 is what it would have been. 2320. That's what Doris would have got or would get. All right, so now Don says, okay, I'm going to file at 70. I'm going to get $26.40 a month. Now, so Doris was getting this amount right here. Was getting this $500 a month times 48 months. So whatever that is, I do need a calculator to figure that out while I'm on screen. If I went on screen, I'd be able to figure it out. But I'm nervous, so we got to figure that out. Times 500. That's $24,000. Oh, you know what you could have done? 48, 1/2. That's, she could have done that. 5. All right. 24,000. So Doris had made $24,000 in Social Security in the interim between 66 and 70 when Don wasn't making any money and Doris was just getting her own benefit. Now what happens is Don files. He gets this amount right here, $26.40. Let me come on this side. So Don gets $26.40. They already made $24K, but now Doris gets half of that right there. So now Doris gets the $1,000. It automatically adjusts because it says we're deeming you to get the most. So Doris's benefit is now null and void. It'll just be half of her spousal, half of the spousal benefit from Don's PIA. I hope that helps. So there's a lot going on there. Again, the restricted application gone for if you're born after January 1st, 1954. So you can't do that. Spouse application is only applicable if the spouse has applied for benefits. If the spouse hasn't applied for benefits, it's a non-starter. In this case, Doris, go ahead and file. Get that sucker going on your own record. I know you say it's small. It won't matter because if you don't file on your own record, you're leaving that money on the table. So go ahead and get that done. Wait till Don files at 70, and then you can get $36.40 a month. If he were to take it now, you'd only get 20. It would be a $3,000 a month. All right. So again, it's a hedge. You're saying I'm hedging essentially. If we wait a few more years, we'll get $36.40 a month, as opposed to filing now, we'll get $3,000 a month. Why will we get $3,000 a month? Because we'll get Don's PIA, and you'll get half of that as opposed to your own benefit. So you're saying I'll take $3,000 a month now or $36.40 a month later. I say take $36.40 a month later, because what happens when Don dies in this scenario, you're going to get $2,000 a month. But if Don dies when you wait for him, you'll get $26.40. So that extra $6.40 is not only good for both you all, but it's going to be good for you as well at his demise. So hope this helps. As always, you got questions, thoughts, concerns, put them in the show notes, and we'll do some more of these kind of Q&A because I enjoy them. All right, we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.